This online business hot seat coaching episode of Podcasting Business School is being brought to you by my online business academy for podcasters. This is the only online business academy exclusively for podcasters that want to learn how to leverage their show to create an online business ecosystem. My academy members are learning how to optimize their offers, create ultra attractive lead magnets, and build marketing funnels that are simple and effective. Plus, Academy members get group coaching with me every other week so that I can help them stay motivated and on track for online business success. To find out more about the Online Business Academy for podcasters, check out the link in the show notes. Now, let's jump into this hot seat coaching session with one of my Online Business Academy for podcasters members. What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. We're doing a online business hot seat strategy session here today. I've got one of my Online Business Academy members for podcasters. DR is in the house. We are going to work on her online business strategy. Very excited about that. DR, where shall we begin? What's the first domino we need to knock over when it comes to your online business?
Okay. So I went through your certification program. So I'm now a certified podcast consultant, and I have my own show. People call in, ask questions, I answer them. But my thing is that I originally thought that I wanted them to take screenshots of where their numbers were, where their downloads were, the consumption, where their open rate is of their email. I mean, anything having to do with numbers and graphs. I wanted to see that at the very beginning so I could kind of measure my effectiveness when I give them advice and they implement it. And then they call me back and say, hey, look at the hockey puck, or the hockey puck, look at the hockey stick that just happened.
Yeah, we want hockey stick growth, not hockey puck growth. My growth kind of just goes around and around.
So, yeah, I am Little Miss Sports, so don't mess with me. Okay. So, is that something that I should do? Or not, don't even bother with it. Just be happy that they are saying that they grew their numbers and blah, blah, blah.
Okay. I like the way that you're thinking.
Okay.
So we have to kind of analyze this a little bit. This is a new effort, a new show. You're kind of growing a community, growing an audience. So I would start easy and work towards complex with something like this. So I think just getting them to ask a question. All right. And just making that as easy as possible. That way you can crank out content. And I think that's a good, because what I would do is we can create case studies and you have a built-in reason to follow up. And so let's say I am a listener of your show and I submit a question and I'm like, DR, I just can't figure out this whole podcast art thing. And can you take a peek at my art and just give me some tips on the show? Bam. So you answer that question, you're on the show. Then you follow up and you let them know, hey, your episode just came out. Here's the answer. I would love for you to kind of just make a note of where you're at right now with your downloads.
Oh, good.
I'm going to follow up with you in 90 days, and I would love to get an update on where you're at. And maybe you have another question that I could answer on the show. And then it turns into kind of like, we last had Adam's question on the show like 90 days ago. Yeah. Now it's kind of a thing. And the more touch points you have, the more likely that person is to become your client, first off.
Great idea.
So, and that way you aren't hard selling. It's just kind of like, we're going on a few dates before you ask me to marry you, like let's just date
no
a
tongues.
little bit.
Okay. Let's build up to the tongues.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're getting some things cooking there. And I like that. And there's built-in accountability. Like, hey, Adam, I'm going to follow up with you in 90 days. Here's what I want you to do. Listen to the episode, implement it. I'm going to follow up in 90 days to make sure that you did kind of what we needed to do to get the result here. And maybe there's a next step. We do another question, another episode, or, we can discuss working together at any point between now and then. Right. And a lot of times when you do that follow-up, and maybe it's not 90 days, maybe that's a little bit too long. Maybe it's a month later, honestly.
Okay.
Because then I feel like they'll either
what
have
if I
done
say
it,
90 days and then I say, but if you have noticed a huge jump before that, I want you to contact me because I'd love to have you on my show.
Yeah. Honestly, like I would probably set it at a month. Now that I thought about it, I'm like,
really?
If we're thinking about this as a lead, 90 days is too long to wait.
Okay.
Because if they haven't done anything in 90 days, they'll probably be embarrassed about it and they won't
Mm.
respond. A month
Mm-mm-mm.
is like, oh,
Yeah.
face
4 weeks. I'll,
palm
I'll say
or
four
whatever it
weeks because
is.
it sounds sooner.
Yeah. 4
Yeah.
weeks. I'm going to follow up. Somebody can change the art in 4 weeks. My God, that's
Yeah.
plenty of time. I mean, anything with a podcasting tip, that's, or a business tip, or I mean,
Right.
anything. That's, if if you don't have time to implement something in 4 weeks, then something's wrong. So
Yeah.
we follow up. It's still in that close enough time frame without totally embarrassed. And then
Hmm.
honestly, what they'll probably realize is they need your help. They're like, I wasn't able to
Right.
do this on my own. Oh, well, how about this? Hop on my calendar. I've got some solutions for this. We can look at some ideas about working together, honestly, because I think you're going to be a really good fit for me. I'd be a really good fit for you. And obviously, you've had a little trouble implementing on your own. So,
Okay.
I mean, that would, all those dots make sense to me, from
Yeah.
developing a relationship, nurturing a lead, and really just kind of taking a step back and not being a high pressure sales situation. How's that
True,
feel?
true, true. That feels good. I should have put like touch points in the front of my mind, and I probably would have maybe not come up with that, but that was good. Okay, now my packages. So I know that you don't have anything having to do with your consultation work on your website. And I'm I'm going to admit that I am so ashamed of my website. There's no SEO, there's no nothing. It's just there. And it's something that I need to get on. Um, but when I finally do, because I have the production side of my business and now the consultation side of my business. So, should I take a page out of your book and not have anything on the consultation in there?
Okay. So I think when it comes to your website, we'll talk about your website in a second as far as
Okay.
like what we can do with that. But I think when it comes to your offers on your website, I think once you get over like 3 offers that are being talked about on your website, that's when we need to be concerned. So if you have like one
Okay.
or
I
two, I think
I have
adding a
three
third,
now. I
yeah, I
have
think you're
three now.
fine adding a fourth. I think 3 to 5 is
Okay.
fine. For like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One of my friends had
Oh
literally had
my.
50 offers.
Yeah.
It's like, that's too much. So I think that's okay to add, especially if
Yeah.
it's a
I'm not
new area
podcasting
of your
Walmart.
business.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like, I mean, like all the things that I do are covered on the offers on my website, so people know how I can help them. There are options. So there's like the growth, there's the monetization, there's the launch or whatever. It's like, so there's all those categories are represented. If one of your offer categories isn't represented on your website, I would put it on there. That way they
Okay.
know, oh, she does have solutions for me in this
Okay.
nook of the space that I'm looking at getting a solution for. So
Okay.
I don't see any problem with that. Now with your website, here's the cool thing, DR. I'm getting ready to put an episode out about this. So spoiler alert, this is coming, or maybe by the time this airs on the show, maybe it has already been out there. Um, but I'm going to break down my website because I think
Oh.
that people that are podcast first marketers, like I am, and like
Hmm.
I'm teaching you to be, we can think about a website differently, because most people, their website is the attractor beam, like the SEO, and they got to have a
Right.
blog, and
Right.
you got to tell your story and your background and do expert positioning.
Yeah.
But my podcast does all that for me, 100% of it.
Okay.
So here's the truth. I've been in business since 2015, online business. I've never, ever, 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 ever had anybody say, I found you from your website and hired me, ever, in almost 10 years.
Okay.
100%. And I'm not saying I did something right or
Yeah.
wrong. I just don't know anything about website SEO. And
Right.
I only know what I know. So my podcast does all that for me. So people search something, they find my show, they binge on my show, they get the backstory of me, they get my story as a coach, they get the expert positioning, they understand who I help and how I help them with my
Hmm.
strategic calls to action. So my website is just a bridge from the show to becoming my client, really, or a bridge from listening to the show to getting on my email list or doing a
That's
freebie.
that's my goal. That I want my show to be like
Yeah.
that.
So it's just a bridge. So now
Okay.
they go from show to the bridge, which is the website. So we don't have to worry as much about the SEO. So for me, my website has 3 components. It's an explainer video, a 4-minute explainer video, where I basically do a quick recap of who I am, who I help, and how I help them. Then I've got 3 buttons underneath that: paid stuff, free stuff, discovery call. And underneath
Mm.
that, testimonials. That's it. And I just got testimonial after testimonial after testimonial.
Yeah.
So it's just like, layering it on there. He's working with people and they are liking what they're getting. That's it. So I don't even have a picture of myself on the website. I mean, it's on the video. I did a
Yeah.
face to camera video, but um, so that's the way I look at my website. Is it's a transition piece, not a
Not
discovery
the
piece, a
right.
tracker, top of funnel. It's like part of the funnel. It's kind of towards the end of the funnel, honestly,
Yeah. Yeah.
versus the top of the funnel, which is where
Because
it is for a
people
lot of
hear
people.
you and then then they start looking for you.
Yeah. So let's
And
say you're on,
by
yeah,
then they've already like, this is the guy.
yeah. You're in a Facebook group or you're on LinkedIn and you're like, hey, I've got this show. You can submit questions about podcasting and I answer them. And they're like, oh, that sounds cool. I'm going to start listening to it. And or I'm going to submit a question. Now they're in your funnel. Now they're
Right.
listening to your show. Now they're getting tips from DR. And now they're like, oh, they hear the call to action over and over and over again, whatever it is. I need to go to a website to check out to get on her discovery call calendar or this freebie that she's got or the episode notes or
Yeah.
whatever. And now that's just like a little bounce, like ping, and then they jump into the thing that they came to the website for. And honestly, I've had so many people that hire me that say, I love how simple your website is.
Oh,
And I didn't have to
okay.
search around for anything. I mean, it's
Right.
just like 3 big hot pink buttons there. It says what it is, and there's not a lot of fluff or anything. You're not getting bells and whistles dancing around
Yeah.
everywhere. And yeah, simple.
Okay. I might have to get your website person. You have a website person who did that for you?
His name is Adam Shibley. And
Oh, he is way too expensive for me. I cannot have
I think,
him.
well, this may be a very good topic for one of our online business academy for podcasters small group coaching sessions. It's just kind of a review of the website, how I built it. I did it on Kajabi, which makes it pretty easy, but it's just kind of like a template thing. So yeah, we could definitely do that inside the academy. That's easy.
Cool beans. Thank you. Let's talk about lead magnet for a second. So, I've got this whole SpeakPipe thing going,
Yep.
and I can get their email addresses from that. So, do I have to go that little extra mile and do the lead magnet as well?
I think what you have there is an experience based, what I call an experience based lead magnet. So it's kind of like my podcast audits when people come on the show and do a little live coaching, or if this was a podcast audit, you would have had to submit your email address as kind of the opt-in, the price of
Right.
admission. So that's what I call an experience-based lead magnet. That's the category that I would put your phone in question. And
Okay.
now, um, you could, I don't know if you're doing this or not, like SpeakPipe, you can collect their email address, and you can take that and put it in your CRM or your lead magnet thing, whatever you got. Or you could set up an opt-in page saying, hey, submit your question. Um, you have to submit name and email. Then the next, it goes, okay, go to the next step. That's where they submit their question and on SpeakPipe. So that's just to make it easier. That could be a way to do that.
Okay.
I do like you having some sort of a resource, what I call a quick win based lead magnet,
Hmm.
because you are so good at the details and the stats and
Hmm.
the reports and all that. I think you just have a treasure trove of
Hmm.
potential lead magnet stuff. You
Yeah.
could put out like some sort of podcasting report, like semi-annual state of podcasting report, or I mean, you could do so much stuff. You're so good at all that, like
Thank you.
workbooky design, and it all
Oh,
looks
workabooky.
good.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Organization, multiple steps. I think like a resource guide, and you could be updated. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a resource guide for podcasters that's updated every 6 months or every year.
Oh,
And you can put that out as because you want to have both the experiential lead magnet and the quick win, because the quick win, I mean, you could have a million people do that and it doesn't take any more time as if one person did it,
right.
The
Right.
experience based one, you get one person, you got to deal with one person for the episode or whatever. but that's going to be a super fan and a potential business lead. So that's why we want
Mhm.
both, you know, a nice little balance there. But we're building our list because a lot of people, maybe you run an ad in a newsletter and you get 44 people that want the resource guide. And then those people start listening to your show, and 20 of them decide they want to submit questions. And now they've done both types of lead magnets. And when
Mhm.
people experience both of those stepping stones, they're much more likely to spend money with you. So,
Cool.
um,
Okay. I will dream something up. Again, rando, it's just a question from the left, question from the right, question from the, I mean, these questions are like scattered all
we're
over the
knocking
place.
them out though, DR. This is good.
So, okay. Um, I'm having, it's, I'm having a problem getting into the groove of getting into these episodes to record my first one where I answer the question and but I think I made a mistake by choosing the one that I did because this podcast that she's asking about is so completely horrendously bad that I am overwhelmed with all this information that I want to just spew out. And all she wants to know is how she gets the word out. So that was her question. How do I get the word out? I'm like, "Ah." um, so how how do I like put the reins on? How do I know not to give too much? Do you
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Okay. So first, I don't think there's any wrong option for like starting off episode or whatever. Like we just got to get in there and crank out content. What
Right.
I would like to see you do is you could set a time limit for yourself. Like, hey, I'm going to take 15 minutes or less to unpack
Okay.
something. And you could say it's either 15 minutes or I say what needs to be said. So it could be
Okay.
5 minutes, it could be 8 minutes, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like a max 15 minutes. I think that's pretty solid. I like with like a hotline phone in question and answer. I feel
Right.
like that's if you spend 15 minutes answering somebody's question, that's pretty robust. They're
Yeah.
gonna get some value out of that. So you can do something like that. I think with your nature, you're gonna have a hard time doing that. So
Yeah.
what I like is first off, always answer their question, and then let's show off your DR-ness a little bit.
My acumen.
You
Yeah.
go that
Come
extra
on.
mile, you know? So I really like the idea of you just giving extra value and go, listen, Adam, I know we just talked about like how do we get the word out. I did take a peek at your show. I noticed a few things that we got a few extra minutes here. I'd love to point out one other thing. So here's my bonus tip of the episode. And
Oh,
almost have
bonus
like
tip.
a bonus tip of the
Bonus
episode,
tip.
but
Oh God, that's so good.
you hint at there's so much more, but we only have 5 more minutes
Yeah.
here. So we're
Oh,
going bonus
Adam.
round. That way, I
Bonus
mean, you're
tip.
showing value
Good.
and you're leaving that door open of that. There's that what's called a curiosity gap of like, oh, she
Yeah.
said, and this bonus tip was really hot. It was really helpful, super good.
Ugh.
That way, when you do that follow up, these are things that you mentioned. Hey, I answered the thing. I noticed a couple other things. I mentioned one. There's still some gains to be had here.
Yeah.
Let me know. No pressure or anything, but I do feel like you're the ideal fit type of person I would love to work with. I don't know if you're looking for some help, but if you're ready to have that kind of a discussion, love to have you on my calendar. And like, I've got several steps here that I think could really make
I
some
should say
traction.
that on the mic.
No, that's a follow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I wouldn't get into salesy anything on the
Right.
mic. That's just value.
Right. Right.
Follow up is when conversations start happening. And again, it's like super low pressure and people overthink this a lot. But if we don't ever ask to have that big date,
Yeah.
it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And you've given value. Maybe, I mean, if you can approach this in multi steps as well. You could do a follow up and go, hey, here's the episode. I did give a bonus tip. Let me know what you think of that. Um, I'll follow up with you in the next, couple of days. I had some other ideas, but I want you to listen to the episode first. That way I
Okay.
want to make sure we're on the right track here.
Right.
And
Okay.
then maybe that second follow up is in in the academy, you've got that dashboard tool
Got
and
the dashboard.
we're keeping
That's right.
track of all of our leads. So that's
Yeah.
when you make the note, last contact, December, whatever, next follow up in 5 days, 7 days, make the date. And I always make a little note of what I want to bring up in that conversation. So I kind of
Right.
have, as I'm going down, I say, "Ooh, I'm supposed to follow up with somebody. It's January 17th. Here's what I'm supposed to be following up with about, and here's kind of the hot button thing I want to focus on.
Okay.
Here's the reason, and the reason can't be I want to sell you something.
Right.
That's the key. That's the
Yeah.
real key because that is what turns people off. It's just like, it's just
Yeah.
not the we're sold to 24/7, 365. So you kind of just build some stepping stones. Hey, here's the episode. Listen to it. I'm gonna follow up with you here in 3 days. I got some other ideas, but I want you to, it's important that you hear what I had to say first. It's an 8-minute episode or 15 minutes or whatever. No big deal. Follow up, and that's when I would really look at setting up a discovery call. Or if you're not feeling it, or you feel like they're not feeling it, we go, hey,
Right.
here's what I think a next really good step would be. I'm going to follow up with you in 30 days. That's when you do that. I'm going to follow up with you in a month.
Okay.
Maybe there's a bonus episode out of this. Maybe it's a case study. Maybe you have a hard time implementing and we need to work
Right.
together.
Okay. Excellent. Um, on our last online business meeting, we started getting a little bit into, I want to go back to packages for a second and about my consultant package. Now, when I was going through the certification course, you were saying, no, have 3 months or a year or something like that. And that's a tough pill for me to swallow. And then most recently in the online business course, you mentioned something about a 3 week or like
Yeah,
just a
for a
week or something.
14 day, yeah, 14
Okay.
day or a 90 day.
Okay.
I like
14 or
two
90. Okay.
options, one shorter, one longer. So that can be 3 months and 12 months. That could be 14 days and it could be 90 days. It's all about the transformation and the time you need for the transformation.
Right.
So it can be different for the type of an offer. Because if it's like a rebrand offer, we may not need 14 days for that. That could be a seven
Right.
day thing.
Right.
Or if it's, I need help with rebranding and then relaunching and growing, maybe that's a 90-day
That's a
thing.
90. Okay.
So,
Yeah, yeah. And I'm still a little up in the air about what I should do for prices with this.
okay. So let's say you're going to work with somebody for 90 days. And let's say it's growth, like podcast growth based. That's what
Hmm.
the certification that you went through with me.
Hmm.
And let's say that you're going to meet up with them once a week for 30 minutes. So
Okay.
12 30-minute one-on-one sessions with DR. And they're going to have access to you on Voxer for the entire 90 days. What? So that, let's just say that is what it is. And the transformation that we're going to deliver is we're going to help them double their downloads. All right. And you're confident in that. Like, okay, we can at least double your downloads. In 90 days,
Hmm.
we're going to double your downloads. So what price point are you like? Where's the edge? Or you're like, I'm nervous for that level of my time and effort. Like when we start to bump up against that scary pricing wall, what's the scary pricing wall for you going above this price point?
For a 90, like um $500 makes me nervous, I think. I think it does.
Okay.
But
So let's unpack the fear a little bit.
okay.
So let's say you're going to charge $497 for this 90-day package. So 12 30-minute sessions, that would be 6 hours of one-on-one time. No, yes. 12, is my math right there? Yeah, 6 hours.
Hmm.
Um, math on the fly, scary on a podcast. So 6 hours, and we're charging $500 total.
Hmm.
All right, so you can kind of look at your dollars per hour a little bit there and go, okay, that that either is less scary or it feels about right. Or like I want you to feel like, okay, I'm spending all this time. I'm able to produce a really consistent result. I want to be excited about the amount that I get paid. So we have to kind of factor that in because we're
Yeah.
all scared, like, will they pay whatever amount? But also
Yeah.
like when they do pay that amount, we don't want you to be like, this is gonna
Yeah,
be
exactly.
an ass.
Well, for my very first client for production wise, they got me at ridiculously low. But then the next client, I went a little higher. Client after that went higher. So I came in, I came into accepting my greatness.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well, I think honestly, I think if you had a 90-day package where you're going to meet up that often and you only charge 497 to $500, whatever, I don't think people will take it seriously.
Really? Okay.
So, options. I
Okay.
think if you cut the time back to either 3 45-minute sessions, one per month at the big one 45-minute session at the beginning of each month and unlimited Voxer access, I could see a
Okay.
$500 price point for that.
Okay.
Um, as a starting point. And maybe that works. And then maybe you're like, well, I want to add a 30-minute follow-up on week 3. So it's like week 1 and week 3, we go 45 and 30, and we raise the price. Of course, if you add Utah, we got to raise the price from
Right.
that standpoint. I would love for you to get into that $500 per month zone on this offer.
Ooh.
So if they're paying you for 90 days, they're paying you $1,500. That's that's the price point I would like to build up to. So I
Okay.
think we work both sides of the equation. We go, okay, what is DR comfortable? Like you got to be able to ask for this with a straight face and not like
Yeah.
freaking out, you know? And like sweating, like
And not with a question mark.
it's
Five?
$1. I mean,
Oh, is that
$500. Will you please buy it?
good?
So I think we got to be careful with that. But I like the 90-day time span. I like giving them Voxer access for 90 days. I still think it's underpriced, but it's more, I think people will take it more reason, like they'll take it more seriously
Okay.
within reason. If it's a one meetup per month, 30 to 45 minutes, week 1. And then maybe, at the end, you're like, hey, I always love throwing like a little bonus session at the end of a consultation going, hey, I'm throwing an extra 30-minute on since it's our last week. I just want to meet up and kind of talk about next steps. And that's where you get a lot of renewals out of stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so I think then you start to have a bunch of hell yes, no brainer sales. That's the alarm going off in your
Yeah.
head going, okay,
Time to
I need to bump this to 600. I need to bump it to
Yeah.
750. And you
Okay.
do a payment plan of like, they pay you 750, 250 a month for 3 months.
Right.
That's super doable. I
Okay.
mean,
Now talk to me about that 2 week, 14-day thing.
so if you do, because okay, I think we got to get out of the like dollar per hour
Right.
zone as much as we can and think
Right.
about price for the result.
Right.
Like they're paying for the result. So if you're like, if it's a launch consultation, if it's a rebrand consultation, they're paying you to optimize their podcast launch process. They're paying you to get their show rebranded and relaunched. They're paying you to set up their podcast growth procedure, protocol, formula. So there's less hand holding, but you're like, here's what I can promise in 14 days. And like start there and go, okay, if I'm going to rebrand somebody's show in 14 days, how much time do I really need with them? And then you're like, okay, I need an hour week 1 and 30 minutes week 2. Or if it's like, you just got to be honest with yourself and go, here's how much time I actually need with this person to produce this result, or it's not going to work.
Right.
Maybe it's 2 30 minutes the first week and 2 30 minutes the second week, whatever. It can be like boot camp style. So you have to take that into effect of like, okay, desired result, time I actually need to produce the desired result. And then we look at it honestly and go, okay, I mean, I could see you charging $500 for that too. Like I think for a 2 week consultation package, 500 to 1,000 is really doable.
Really?
Some people start in that 297 zone and work up to the 500 zone. So if you're to start
Okay.
at 297 for 14 days and go 30 minutes week 1, 30 minutes week 2, or whatever you think, get a few yeses, get some confidence built up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want you to nudge that up into the 5 to 1,000 as quickly as you can.
Okay.
And maybe this is where like a little mini course comes into play where you're like, wow, I'm getting
Mm.
so many of these rebrand or a quick 14-day launch protocol. I need to record 10 videos where I cover a lot of the stuff. Now I can charge more for it because they got this
Yeah.
evergreen resource. And then now you've got a protocol. So let's say it's a launch thing and you're like, I'm going to record 10 videos, my first 10 steps for launch that are the most important ones. You got to watch the 10 videos first, then book your first call with me. That's when our 14 days begins. Or
Mm.
maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe there's go through the first 5 videos, then book your first call. Then over the next 14 days, we finish the videos and finish your launch optimization. So now we're leveraging that
Okay.
hybrid course plus coaching format. And I
Right.
think there's opportunities there. So I think let's get out of the framework, the mindset of thinking, how much am I going to charge for this
Yeah.
package? It's more
Yeah.
about like how much time
Value.
will it
Am
take
I?
me to
Yeah.
get this result for them
Mm.
that they
Mm.
desire? Because honestly, they don't care. I mean, they just want the results. They don't care if it's like they're not just going to pay extra because to take longer for
Mhm.
90. Well, for 90
Right.
days, I can pay more. But if you get the same result in 14 days, they'll pay the same price.
Right. Right. Right.
It's just about the result. So start
Right.
thinking results driven pricing and that people will pay for speed on that. Cool.
Yes.
DR, we got a lot of good things done today. Before I let you go, I would
Yeah.
love just a 60-second feedback of what you're enjoying being an online business academy member. What parts of the membership are you enjoying?
Hmm.
What are you liking so far?
Well, okay. So I love being a part of Adam's group. The best part of being part of the group is Adam, you yourself, because you give me that one on, not only is this a one-on-one, but the group is small enough to where when we have those meetings, it feels like you're talking just to me. And there's always a question being brought up that I, for God's sake, I didn't have that question, but you know what? I should have had that question. That's a good question. So, so what my fellow students are asking will always apply to me. So it's really amazing that I keep thinking, "Oh my God, that's a great point. I should have asked that. I should have known that." So the the students that are asking those questions and you and the fact that I feel like you're with me every step of the way, and it's all makes such a good synergy, and I am so excited to just be in it and to graduate, and I'm totally with you. You're
Yeah.
never ever going to lose me, Adam. I am going to be like dog poo poo on your on your shoe. We'll probably have to cut that out.
Well
But
said. Best testimonial ever, ladies and gentlemen.
you have to
No,
cut
like
that out.
I'm having, oh, hell, I'm leaving in. I'm having a blast with this group. I think we've got our rhythm. Now we launched in October of 2024. We've got our first quarter in the books, and we are really building momentum with the group. And I love being in there. I love it, love it, love it. So
Yeah,
if you all want to take a peek, check out the link in the show notes and check out the Online Business Academy
y'all
for
gotta do it.
podcasters. Got to do
Do
it.
it,
Got to do it.
man.
All right, DR, appreciate you joining me here. If you guys are wanting to do a hot seat like this, you got to be inside the academy. Go get that link in the show notes and let's give it a shot. And with that, my pod pals, I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you on the next episode.